The San Francisco Giants pull off another amazing victory in extra innings in Milwaukee at Miller Park. And the offense absolutely comes alive and goes for 5 home runs. That is right, guys. The Giants offense exploded in this one, and Buster Posey added a grand slam in extra innings to pull the victory off. And man, times are good if you are a Giants fan right now. They are playing some of the best brand of baseball that we have seen them play, and they have won now 7 out of their last 8 games. And, we have been beating some, pretty decent teams, taking 2 out of 3 from the Cardinals, sweeping our division rival Padres, and now getting this big victory on the road to start off the second half. And Shaun Anderson getting the start for the Giants, and the rookie right-hander pitched definitely a lot better than his pitching line would. Having gone 5 innings pitched in the outing, giving up 6 hits, gave up 4 earned runs. But again, 2 of those earned runs were allowed when, after coming out of the game in the 6th inning for Shaun Anderson, Reyes Morantes struggled, and so he allowed those 2 inherited runners to score. And so those 2 runners got charged to Shaun Anderson's record, so he got tagged for 4 earnings when, should have been 2 earned runs. Gave up 3 walks, but again, had 8 strikeouts. So really good stuff with Shaun Anderson. And what we saw, he was getting first pitch strikes. And this was really impressive because he was able to do this against a very tough Milwaukee Brewers team in Milwaukee in a hitter's park. And they have a very deep lineup. Not only that, but Shaun Anderson struck out Christian Yelich, a top MVP hitter, one of the best hitters in baseball. He struck him out 3 times. That's right, guys, 3 times. I mean, if that doesn't give you a rookie pitcher some confidence, then I don't know what will. But that's absolutely impressive. Very excited for Shaun Anderson to have an outing like this. And also a big credit to Christian Yelich because despite the 3 strikeouts, he ended up coming back later in the game for the Brewers and adding a big hit. That was allowed them to tie the game. I believe it was a triple that he hit off Will Smith. Actually, Will Smitty, guys, finally, the streak was broken, which that was something that we knew would eventually happen. He had been perfect in save opportunities, 23 of 23 until tonight, and that streak was broken. Christian Yelich led off the 9th inning with a triple, and then Will Smith got the next batter to strike out, but then the next batter hit a pretty decent ground ball to Joe Panic, and Panic was able to get the out, but not able to prevent the run from third coming in to score. And so that was how that happened. And now to get into the offense, guys, 5 home runs for the Giants. Now, this feat has not been accomplished by the Giants very many times over the years. In fact, it has only been done, I believe, 5 times in the last 10 years. And the last time coming in April of 2014. April 23rd, actually, it was a game at Colorado. So not surprising there that, you would see one of the games with the highest home run totals be at Colorado. But again, we saw history tonight, guys. The Giants hitting home runs, and even in the 3 World Series championship years when we, won, we never did hit a whole lot of home runs. A lot of those teams were built around pitching and defense. So to see the Giants hitters hitting home runs, and even if it's on the road, I think we will definitely see this team specifically be able to carry that power into Oracle Park and start hitting some home runs in San Francisco. But again, this is a very encouraging game, a really awesome game as a fan to watch, and to see them make history and, to be a part of it, and also to be in the thick of things, guys. We are in the thick of things in the National League wildcard race. We are only now 4.5 games out of that second wildcard spot. So I think the Giants are showing that everything that we thought could come to fruition in the first year that Farhan Zaidi would take over the job as president of baseball operations with the Giants, we are seeing that come to fruition in the first year. Now, the first 2 months obviously were a very deep struggle for the Giants, and in those 2 months, the offense was struggling a lot. The rotation, we had some guys that were in the rotation to start off the year struggle. We went through rough times with Drew Pomeranz. We've seen Derek Holland very much struggle in the rotation, and now he's been moved to the bullpen. Well, Holland did struggle in the rotation, but I think the move to the bullpen was more to give some of the other Giants young starters a opportunity, and so that was kind of how that situation played out. But again, the transformation too, the Giants have seen a huge turnover of players, and early in the year, this actually led to, this did not sit very well with the veterans. What they didn't like was early in the year, the Giants were filtering through a lot of outfielders, and so you had guys that were only here for maybe a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks at a time, a month, and then, they were on their way out the door. And, some could argue that that's not a good amount of time to make an evaluation on someone, but Farhan Zaidi elected to go with these moves, and right now it is proving to have paid out for the Giants because every little move that we have made up until this point, you've seen it pay off big times, pay huge dividends. When we're talking moves like Kevin Pillar, that trade, getting Kevin Pillar, what a huge deal. I believe he has 48 RBIs now on the season, so really having a great year, and 12 home runs. He's been playing amazing defense and has shown some huge character in terms of being open to playing other positions in the outfield, not named center field. Obviously, during part of the season, it was to give some playing time for Steven Duggar in center field. And to make a note on Steven Duggar, he's actually down in AAA now, still getting some at-bats, so that'll be very interesting to monitor his progress and see where he goes from there. But Farhan Zaidi, he has built some incredible depth in this Giants team. I mean, we're talking, we got talent now on the Major League roster. We have some big-time talent coming off the bench. When you look at the bench, I mean, look, we got Pablo Sandoval, Kung Fu Panda Pablo, coming off the bench. He can do damage. He can hit it out of the ballpark. He gives you quality at-bats. And then, late in the game, in years past, the Giants probably late in the game, they were sending pinch hitters up that, all they could do really was strike out. And, that's not to, badmouth anybody, but really the offense had very much struggled. And the guys that essentially were on the bench were more than likely players that weren't everyday starters. And so, again, not everyone has a knack for hitting off the bench. And this year, the Giants, they have stacked their bench. We have huge power coming off the bench. Guys like Tyler Austin, who came through clutch in this game with a big home run. So that is really phenomenal. And, wow, so just amazing. Brandon Crawford also hitting one of those 5 home runs. And that was also a very encouraging sign for Crawford because he had a very early season struggle to the start to the season. And so huge home run for Crawford. And then Austin Slater, he has been red hot since being called up from AAA. And the Giants, Austin Slater, he made a big-time adjustment in the offseason. Last year, the Giants had communicated to Slater that he was hitting the ball on the ground to the opposite field a lot, and they wanted him to try to get the ball in the air more because he does have legitimate power to that opposite field. And we saw that on display in the game today in his opposite field home run. So funny how things come to fruition, but Slater hitting over 400 since being called up from AAA. He has been huge. He has been monstrumental. And so that opposite field power, again, he is going to continue to build on that to be able to make those adjustments and try to get that ball in the air more, but we are seeing the results and, so hopefully we continue to see that. Now, another note on the offense, another big storylines is that of the 5 home runs, 3 of them came from the veterans that we know are going to be on the team and, they're owed a lot of money, and that's Brandon Crawford, Evan Longoria, and Buster Posey. And so that's another encouraging sign because they've had their struggles, and we've been saying over and over that, they're veterans, but at the end of the year, they're going to have their stats and they're going to be producing that numbers that we know that they're capable of producing, and they're going to be a huge instrument to the success of the ball club. Evan Longoria, he has been one of the hottest hitters. That's been a huge storyline of late. And when Evan Longoria gets on hot streaks, I mean, he really absolutely carries teams. And even in his days with the Tampa Bay Rays, I mean, he was legit the best player in baseball during his hot stretches. Sorry, guys. During his hot stretches. And so really just on display and just really great to see. And so Evan Longoria, he had to make a huge adjustment being traded to the San Francisco Giants. That was obviously probably a big culture shock because he had spent his entire career with the Tampa Bay Rays. And so it was definitely an adjustment period in his first year with the Giants. And he definitely didn't, like how things kind of went. And he felt like, it could have went a lot better. And, things did happen that were unfortunate, like when he had broke his hand in June of last year. That occurred in a game in Miami. And so that was really unfortunate. I remember that when that happened. And so really Longoria is putting together an amazing second year. And I think he's showing that he is comfortable. He is being able to be at himself and to play his best brand of baseball. So to get into some of the storylines for the Milwaukee Brewers in the game, the hitting department, guy by the name of Keston Hiroura, he went 3 for 4 and hit a home run in the game, knocking 2 RBIs. So impressive game for him. And then also Christian Yelich. What more can we say about Christian Yelich? He went 2 for 5, knocked a triple, and scored a run in the game. Now, the scoring, we are going to get into the big-time scoring of the game. So, in the bottom of the second inning, the Brewers got on the board to start off against Shaun Anderson when Keston Hiroura hit a RBI double to give them a 1-0 lead. Now, following him in the bottom of the fourth inning, Eric Thames hit a RBI double to give the Brewers a 2-0 lead. Now, in the top of the fifth inning, your San Francisco Giants would big-time answer back as Austin Slater would hit his third home run of the season, a 2-run big fly to tie the game at 2. Now, in the top of this sixth inning, Evan Longoria would hit his 13th home run of the year, a 2-run blast, giving the Giants a 4-2 lead. And then in the bottom of the sixth inning is when damage was done. A shutdown inning was not had by Shaun Anderson. He walked the leadoff hitter, and you can definitely tell that it was really frustrating to Anderson that he made that mistake, but it happened. And so eventually when he got lifted from the game, Reyes Moronta came in, and he really struggled in his outing, and so he allowed those 2 inherited runners to score. So in that bottom of the sixth inning, Ryan Braun hit a 2-run double off Reyes Moronta, and that tied the game at 4. And then Eric Thames added a RBI single. That made the game 5-4. But from there, in the top of the eighth inning, Tyler Austin coming off the bench, showing what big-time power the Giants have coming off the bench, something they haven't had in years past. And in a situation when they need him, he was facing the Brewers' Josh Hader. Hader having a great season. He was an all-star. And really, if you're facing the Milwaukee Brewers, you're thinking about having to face this guy late in the game. And he's been known to pitch multiple innings potentially, so could possibly pitch the 8th inning and 9th inning. So we saw him in that 8th inning, and on a fastball, it was a outside place fastball. Tyler Austin was able to put some good wood on the bat, or on the ball, I should say. He went taco opposite field, a big-time home run, his 8th of the season to tie the game at 5. And then in the top of the 9th inning, Brandon Crawford gave the Giants a 1-run lead, a 6-5 lead, when he hit his, it was his 6th home run of the season for Brandon Crawford. So again, we hope that means he's going to be on a big-time hot streak in the second half and help the Giants in this playoff push. So in the bottom of the 9th inning, again, Will Smith blew his first save of the year. Mike Moustakas knocked in the tying run on a RBI ground out, and that knotted the score at 6-6. And then we go to extra innings now on the road, a huge game for the Giants and Brewers for that matter. Both 2 very big powerhouse teams in the National League going at each other. Really good matchup here. I believe Matt Albers comes into the game, and the Giants are able to work some really good at-bats. It starts off with a Joe Panik leadoff single. He gets things going there to start off that 10th inning. And Panik was having a tough game at that point. He was 0 for 3, so definitely good for him to salvage a night with getting a hit in your 4th at-bat. And not only that, but the rally to eventually lead to the winning runs of the game. And so Mike Yastrzemski would come up pinch hitting, and he would have a very good at-bat. He worked the count from 0-2 all the way to a walk, and that set things up for Brandon Belt with 2 on and nobody out. And then Brandon Belt, the Ballard brother, he knocks a base hit to right field. He hit it so hard that The runner couldn't score from second, and so it was bases loaded and nobody out. And up comes Buster Posey, and he hits a grand slam. He hits it high and deep to center. This one is way back. It is out of here. And Posey hits a grand salami, his 4th home run of the season, giving the Giants a 10-6 lead. And in the bottom of the 10th inning, the Brewers would get a run against on a Keston Herrera home run. So that made it 10-7, and that was the final score of the game. So as we look ahead to the future, to the San Francisco Giants' next game in the series, they are going to send Madison Bumgarner to the hill to try to pick up their 8th win in their last 9 games. Now, Bumgarner is 5-7 on the year with a 4.03 ERA to go with 115 strikeouts. Now, in his last outing, it was a very, we held our breath because a big-time comebacker came back and hit Bumgarner in his pitching arm. And thankfully, it didn't hit his elbow. It hit kind of above the elbow, I believe. And so it wasn't anything too serious, but they did remove him from the outing after 2 innings. It did swell up on him, but again, the good news is we had the All-Star break, so he had some time to rest, and he is coming back and not missing a start, so that just shows the bulldog mentality of Madison Bumgarner. And the Giants are going to be opposing a right-hander by the name of Zach Davies, who is 7-2 on the year with a 3.07 ERA and 63 strikeouts. So I cannot be more excited for this next game, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to smash that like button and comment down below. I'd love to hear your opinion and your perspective. San Francisco Giants fans, what are your thoughts after the victory tonight? How have you been feeling watching the Giants these last 10+ games or so? How exciting has it been to watch this offense, this young pitching, this really excellent bullpen? Again, it's been a really exciting run, so I would love to hear your guys' thoughts. And also, do you think the Giants should be buyers or sellers at the July 31st trade deadline? The more wins that we continue to pull off, the more and more likely that I think it means that Bumgarner could be staying and we could be making a final playoff push in Bochy's last year. Or are the Giants going to be sellers and move some bullpen pieces? But also it could be a scenario where we do trade a Will Smith and we're able to bring in some young major league talent, and we have some guys out of the bullpen that could step up and potentially take over that closer's role. So would love to hear all your guys' thoughts. And until next time, I will see you again. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.